Hey guys, it is Tuesday night and I am joining you like usual, a little bit late. I actually was sitting at my computer at like 8:15 feeling like I was going to be like uber on time. And then I was like, I probably should think through what I want to say today besides just like a general idea. So I just wanted to take a time to kind of jot down more thorough ideas so that I value your time while you are with me. And I hope you guys brought your coffee. I have with me today chamomile tea, which is just one of my favorites, with some raw honey. Speaking of which, raw honey, I had a really bad moment this week. I actually won't go into details, but it has to do with children's boogers and confusing that with raw honey. And I won't share details. That's actually like a trigger word for my sister's morning sickness is the word booger. So I already said it like 3 times. So we're going to move on from that. So I am a mom of an 18-month-old daughter, and which I can't believe she's already that old. Like they say, it goes fast, but I really hate that cliche, but it is very, very true. She is my life. So everything that I do from home, and what I'm talking to you about today is totally for her. It's totally for my family. It's not just to get a leg up on a career or some extra cash from home. It's so that I can help and contribute to my family financially. So a lot of you know me already. A lot of people, though, still message me and say, what do you do exactly from home? And I say, well, I'm an account manager for a marketing firm, and I have been an operations manager for a New York PR firm, which my brother-in-law still pokes fun at me and says, really, really? But I mean, I really did that for a year. And I have been a piano teacher. I just had a lesson this afternoon, a little bit before this Facebook Live and getting dinner together for the family. We've done Airbnb, which I will talk about today. I will share exactly what we did and what made us feel comfortable with that. Done cashback apps, yard selling. I know there's a bunch more. And I've talked to you guys about a lot of that, and I'll keep sharing as long as I have something to share, because I've had so many people interested in how they can avoid direct sales and do something from home to help contribute financially without, having a 40-hour work week and being able to be there with your family. So today, we're talking about a big one for moms, which is how to find affordable childcare, which is definitely a challenge, and I live right there. So I've used a lot of different methods, and I'll share that with you today. And then we'll talk about exactly what we did to do Airbnb just to earn, I think it was almost $400, so nothing crazy, but I mean just a little extra something this last year. So and I'll just share real quick, people, what is the account manager, like what do you really do? Hey Kelly, thanks so much. She says congrats on your book. Yes, I will talk about that. Thank you so much. I forgot. I did launch my book today. I didn't forget, but I have it later on the floor here, like to talk about. But that was a huge hurdle for me, was jumping into that. So thank you, Kelly. I appreciate the encouragement so much. So my real duties, like things that I actually do from home in these different roles, have been answering emails, coordinating meetings for people, setting up event invites and sending them to people. Being the middleman between like a client and a design team. What do you want? Okay, well, here's what they want. Make sure you get that. Okay, that doesn't look quite what they said. And I mean, it's not uber complex. It's just being that middleman. And then phone conversations. I mean, these are all things, I hope this doesn't sound like too simple, but it is like basic stuff that you can do, that probably all of you are able to do. Event planning. That's something that I planned an event in, 3 events actually, in Columbia, Gaffney, and right now I'm helping with an event in Atlanta. And all from home. I won't go to the event, but I will do the social media. I will help plan it. I will help manage, whatever's needed, Eventbrite. So those are like some specific things. Brainstorming, strategy. I already mentioned social media, but doing social media campaigns, just writing them, scheduling them out. Ghost writing, I've done that. Actually, for my the PR company, I ghost wrote for her for a Huffington Post article. and editing for her book and helping her with that. And I've also edited another ebook that went live that did really well. So, and I come saying that I didn't, when I started those things, I wasn't an expert in all of those things necessarily. I had different things that contributed, but a lot of that was also learning curves, not answering emails, thank goodness. But a lot of the things I hadn't grown up saying this is what I want to do. But I was willing to try anything, and I think that's the key, is being willing to just try anything from home and see if it could lead to $1 from home. Just commit to that and just try it. You never know what might happen. And I've always been surprised at the things that were worth it and did give me income from home versus the things like crafting that I always thought I would do to make lots of money from home, and it just wasn't my thing. Although I did chalk paint this chair. You can actually chalk paint chairs, but it took so much time, and I ended up liking it, so I never sold it. Okay, so this is backwards and upside down. Real mom moments, and how are you guys doing? So I kind of squished it onto one card because I got lazy a little bit. I already talked about my real mom moment involving my daughter wiping her nose on me, and I thought it was raw honey, and I won't talk more about that. Taxes this week, enough said. I mean, that is always a stressful time. I always think that I always think I'm really prepared and that we got this, and then there's those last minute signatures or last minute things you gotta mail out. So I am feeling the pain for you guys if any of you just got done with that and you're just breathing a sigh of relief that you're done. Easter weekend. What did you guys do for Easter weekend? Any first Easter egg hunts out there? I'm just curious to hear what you guys did, and if you had a good weekend. My daughter had her first Easter egg hunt on Sunday at my Aunt Becky's and Uncle Tim's church in Liberty, South Carolina. So that was really, really fun. Just simple things, simple pleasures, but man, it's just awesome to watch her just putting little eggs in her little bucket. So, and I also hosted a biscuit bar shower by mail for my sister. I actually co-hosted with my aunt here at my house, and it was a blast. Like, if you haven't heard of a biscuit bar, just look on Pinterest. It's just fun. It's really more of like a breakfast idea, but we did it for dinner because I love breakfast for any meal of the day. But yeah, and then shower by mail is just an idea. If you have someone that you adore that has moved and there's not many people near them that have known them all their lives that can give them a shower, just call it a shower by mail and make it clear that people can mail stuff in for the shower and then live stream. I actually live streamed some of the shower in the event page, so it was private, and then posted pictures and thanked people on there for the gifts with the picture of the gift they opened. And so that was a way to thank them and save Becca, my sister, from writing a bunch of thank you notes. So that's just an idea if you're looking, that's not, necessarily work related, but I would say you save a lot of money by having a shower by mail because not everyone's actually there to eat the biscuit bar. You know what I'm saying? So, by the way, everything turned out but the biscuits. Like, I made fresh biscuits and the frozen ones were so much better. So I'm going to go frozen in the future, just save myself that grief. Today, okay, so Kelly mentioned this earlier, and she has been such a sweet supporter and encourager all along. And she helped me out with the bonus chapter of the book, which is I started a business idea from home and it's not working. And so she helped me flesh out some, basically helping people troubleshoot why their idea is not working from home. So, yes, the book launched today. I have been sitting on this for like 3 months. I kid you not. I got the idea late last year because it was just, this is the book cover, which I don't think you can see super well, but it's on my Facebook page, so you can always go out there. So yeah, I'll run through the index really quick so you know what's in here, so you feel comfortable recommending it to any of your friends that are looking for some kind of at-home idea but aren't really comfortable with direct sales. So I talk about how I became a stay-at-home mom. That's really just like a stay-at-home working mom. That's like one chapter. So I don't really spend a ton of time there, but I want you to know where I'm coming from. Amanda says, "Hi Andrea, I just ordered your book. Congrats." And yes, I actually got your Facebook message too right before, and I didn't have a chance to reply. So I will connect with you afterwards, Amanda. Okay, so why should you imagine a new future? It's all in the mindset. Secrets to finding affordable childcare, which we're going to talk about a lot of that today. How to find intentional time to work. So that's a lot about scheduling your time, which doesn't sound fun and enjoyable, but believe me, every time I get off the schedule, it is like so dissatisfying and I get so much less done, and it's very difficult to balance everything. What does work from home really mean? How to find your, like, what does that look like? How to find your work from home ideas. That one's chock full of ideas that I've either done personally or heard of, or that's like the meat. That's the big chapter. That's all the things that I've tried and how I've tried it, and interviewing other moms that have tried stuff and what's worked for them, stuff like that. No, Ramon, stay-at-home dads can't read it. I'm just kidding. Yes, they can. It really would work for anyone who's at home. Ramon. Anyone who's at home and wants to earn some extra income, or just try different ideas, from yard selling to Airbnb to whatever. Okay, more cash, less responsibility. That chapter's for that mom that doesn't want like an actual job that she's committed to, but she wants something to try from home that's totally flexible, that she could do maybe during a nap time. And that would include like a business that lets you record your screen and just analyze their websites for them. And they pay you for the recording of what you said about their websites. So just really kind of out of the box ideas. And it's not meant to be an all-inclusive list. It's more like just to get the brainstorming really revved up and get you to go out there and start trying things, to stop feeling like I need that one idea that's going to be perfect and then I'll do it. Just try 10 things, try 5, try 3 things. It doesn't matter, but do something instead of waiting for the big idea to hit you. Marketing to grow your business, talking about taking action and how to do that, how to balance business and babies when you get there, how extra can mean even more, why we're really doing this, why we're trying to earn money, and what that could mean. And then the bonus chapter that Kelly had mentioned that she helped me with was, I've tried working from home and it's not working. So those are really, you don't have to fit into any specific category. Mompreneur, trying to find a way to be a mompreneur, dadpreneur, is that a thing? Probably, I would think so. Or you don't even have to have kids. I mean, I have friends that listen to different ideas that I've shared and have tried them. So whatever works for you, but I just target it to moms because I know how hard it is to work around a kid's schedule. Okay, so moving on. Now we're going to talk about the childcare part, which I know this is always a hot topic for moms because it's a hot topic for me, and every time I've talked about it, I get a lot of questions or a lot of ideas. That's really, really neat. So if you have tried something that I don't mention here, I want to hear it from you, because I'm always looking for ways to get smarter on this game. But I do currently try, I currently right now use about 4 different ideas, and I've tried different ones. Okay, so I'll share my journey really quick, but then I'm going to share, actually no, I'll just jump into I've got like 13 different ideas here that you could try. Okay, the first one is obviously nap time work. That's where you often start, and it's where I started, because you're not always sure if, like, you don't want to pay for something or commit somebody to watch your kids when you're not quite sure what you're doing. I'm not saying you can't get someone to watch your kids, but it's just easier to, set aside Netflix and Facebook for a few nap times and see what you can find. Apply for jobs during that time. Get some crafts. Start trying your product idea if you want to do a product. Researching what you could do out there. Seeing what companies you could partner with to help them. That types of things. So nap time work is where a lot of people start. It's where I started. The other one is ask family. I know not everyone can do this, so skip past this if you can't, but a lot of people will have family in the area that they're afraid to ask because they, number one, don't want to bother them. Number two, they don't know if the idea they have from home is worth asking. I was fortunate enough to have a very, very sweet mother-in-law in the area for the last year that wanted to help. But I didn't really ask her to come over until I had set up a firm schedule of, here are the times that I need you, and those are the times that I'm working. Bam, done. So that way she knew I wouldn't be, 3 o'clock, hey, can you come over for a quick hour so I can answer emails? It's not very respectful to her. And honestly, she's been so flexible and gracious regardless. I don't currently have her watch my daughter now because she's got a lot of health things that she's trying to work out. So I don't want you to also tune out thinking that, oh, well, she has family in the area, so that's why she was able to do it. But don't be afraid to ask family, and don't be afraid to ask more than one family member so it's not a burden on one person, but where there's maybe 2 or 3 people, if they're able to come for a set amount of time each week that you get them to commit to, and then, make it up to them. I committed to do pedicures for my mother-in-law once a month. Now, she wouldn't let me do that. We probably only did 3 pedicures in the last year. And it was a great excuse for me to get a pedicure, to be honest. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on family. Evening work, this is obvious. You can work after your kid goes to bed. That's very common. I know a mom that actually worked for a company that manufactured bows, and she would make bow designs exclusively after her kids went to bed. So pretty much exclusively. So they would go to bed and she would actually just form these little bows while she watched Netflix, and she would get paid per bow. Just be open for those flexible type opportunities that you could do after your kid goes to bed, so you're not spending any money on childcare. My husband recently switched to night shift, so I called it night shift husband. But he wanted to. He actually asked me, he's like, it's a great time to get ahead on work, and he's been loving it. So it's actually swing shift, so then he can watch my daughter in the afternoon. So that's an idea. I know a lot of moms that have done this where they are able to work part-time because their husband works at night and is able to help flexibly watch the kids maybe in the afternoon or the early morning, whatever works for them. Working after your kids are in bed, I already talked about that. Teenager mother's helper. So not a lot of moms know about mother's helpers. It's kind of a not commonly used term, but basically if you are planning to work from home, consider, especially in the summer, seeing if there's any little teenagers like younger teenagers that maybe don't have a lot of babysitting experience, but that seem trustworthy. Don't just, have anyone in your house, but that you could stay in the same room or be in the very next room, and they get some experience and you're there for any questions, diapers, whatever it is. But you have some uninterrupted time to work on your business idea from the next room. I have done this as well, where I've hired, even this last Thursday, I actually had a neighborhood teenager come over for the morning, and I was right downstairs, and she was willing to do it for $8 an hour, which is pretty good. So that's an option where you can get someone that's more of a mother's helper than an actual nanny, and they will do it for cheaper because you're still in the home. Childcare swap. I've known a lot of moms who will trade childcare very successfully. So they'll do 2 mornings. Let's say like I was swapping with another mom. For 2 mornings of the week, I would watch both of our kids. And then the next 2 mornings or 2 full days, whatever it is, she would watch both of our kids. And so we're able to get in 2 part-time or full days of work, which can be huge. If you have a job option that lets you commit to just 2 days, then you get the rest of the week with your family, but you're able to get some extra income that way. I would love to do that someday. It hasn't worked out at this point, but that would be awesome. FSA dollars for traditional daycare. Check to see if your spouse is offered any kind of FSA help. Look into contributing to that using the pre-tax dollars. Just be careful. I don't think you get that back if you don't use it. So make sure that you are actually planning to do daycare or something like that, in-home care, before, and make sure you know what they require. Like if it's a receipt, but you're having an in-home nanny or an in-home mother's helper, just make sure you look into that first. For me, I looked into it and it just wasn't worth it for me. So gym daycare. So I know that a lot of you probably know about this, but check the local gyms to see if there are any 2 to 4 hour options for people to watch your kids while you're either getting some workout or working. So this is another one. I guess I'm just sharing my journey as I go. This is another one where I actually have taken my daughter there. She's literally in the glass area directly across from me, so I can see her, but she can't see me, and they're watching her. I get to sit at a cafe with free coffee and Wi-Fi. That's just what my gym has set up. And 2 hours free daycare each day included in my membership. Also, they recently started a Parents' Day Out program, which I think I'm the only one doing right now. They're not marketing it anymore, but I'm totally gobbling it up because it's $20 for 4 hours of childcare. And I'm right there. I don't leave her. She's right there. They can come to me and say, hey, I think she's hungry, or they'll feed her lunch. Like, it's just nice. So just check to see if your gym has a Parents' Day Out program that you could jump on, and how much it would cost. If they don't have it, and it's a local Y or something like that, have them talk to the Y in Greenville or other Ys or gyms that are doing that model and see if they're willing to do that for you. It can never hurt to ask. That's like literally my husband, I use that as a broken record all the time. Hiring an in-home sitter in the area. I mentioned a few services that I've either looked into or I have mom friends that have recommended them. They tend to be more expensive though. So I would try some of these other options first because like I've looked into it and it's typically going to run you about $11 an hour, at least in the southern South Carolina type area, about $11 an hour. And then they want a $10 booking fee each day on top of that. So that, to me, that's just a little bit steep. It's just hard to justify that. Just like most childcare that you're paying for is difficult to justify because you want to make sure that your sitter is not making more than you are per hour. That's a legitimate thing that you've got to think about before you hire anybody, even a gym. I only started the whole gym thing actually when I was already starting to make an income from home. And so my gym membership and the extra hours that I pay for are exclusively paid because of the work I'm already doing. Nanny share. So this is a really cool idea that I would love to do. I just haven't found the other moms that would want to do this in my area. But are there any moms in your area that would be willing to, instead of watching your kid for you and then you swap, share a nanny? I mean, you'd have to work with a nanny to make sure that it works for them. But basically, they could make more per hour watching multiple kids if you and the other moms, were contributing, equal amounts, but still paying way less. I mean, even if you just thought about like $20 an hour, but it's split 3 or 4 ways. Yes, it's a lot on a nanny, and you'd have to look into any requirements and make sure everyone's comfortable with it. But I really feel like you could look into something like that, and it may work in your area. That's something that I've totally been open to and would pursue if it came up. Co-working childcare space. This is another dream of mine that I would love to either start someday or have here in the area. I have found other models in other cities that actually do this, where it's a co-working space that also offers childcare. And some of them have lactation rooms. Like, it's unreal. So like you could still be breastfeeding your child, and maybe you only have 2 hours to work here and there, but it's not this huge disruption or these, bottles you have to take with you in the fridge and stuff. You can actually go to this place and flexibly work in a co-working space. Somebody else is watching your kid and pull them out and then putting them back in. Like, that would be awesome. And then in my mind, it would be a bonus if there was a nap room as well. I would have killed for that in the earlier days, just killed for it. And the last idea is, again, be careful with this, but bartering. If you have a service, like, you'd want to check to see if there's any tax implications as well. But if you have a service that you offer and you know someone with an in-home daycare and you trust them, it can never hurt to just ask and say, hey, I've got this regular service we can offer. Could we work out a discount? Is there anything? I mean, you think about it, companies all the time get discounts for like gym memberships and stuff like that. So it can never hurt to pursue it. That's just always my thought, is it can't hurt to ask and see what it might turn into, and it could be something really unique for you. Seeking childcare, it's a lot of times more than getting the actual childcare and the cost of it. It's that feeling of feeling guilty, like I should be with my kid all the time. I should never want or need any time away from them. But that's just not always the reality. Even if you're grocery shopping, I mean, most of us moms would love just a trip to the grocery store without screaming, like juggling. It's just hard. So don't feel guilty for if you ever seek to have some childcare, whether that's you know, going to the gym for a couple hours or whatever. I think I'm just going to read this because I think this is really critical when it comes to whether you choose to do childcare someday and you're doing some business idea at home. Moms don't pursue childcare because they want time away from their kids, but because when they're with their kids, they want to only be with their kids. They don't want to be refocusing and squeezing in small work items every free 5 minutes. That's just exhausting, and the interruption means you're not working as efficiently. By setting specific uninterrupted work hours while the kids are under someone else's care, moms are able to get more work done more quickly, so they are free to spend uninterrupted time with kids later. I can't tell you how huge that is for me. I have just found that it is really impossible for me, just at least with my daughter, to get any work done with her around because I'm not focusing on her, and so I feel guilty. And if she needs me, truly needs me, I want to be able to drop everything. And then if I'm also not working as efficiently. I'm getting distracted frequently. I'm taking much longer to answer one email. It's frustrating. It's stressful. Every kid's different, but if that sounds like you, don't keep doing that to yourself because that's the biggest way that you end up getting burnt out. It just is. Don't do that to yourself where you're trying to mix work and babies. Give yourself a better balance by finding a flexible option, any of the options that I mentioned, or if you find something else that works for you in your area, that's great. I can't tell how my hair looks in this, but this is actually straight from a messy bun. I'm just gonna say, I think it looks good. Like it's curly, I think. I just saw that my former roommate who was a cosmetology major joined, so I'm curious, Whitney, if it passes the test. But it's just straight from a messy bun, nothing fancy. Okay, so Airbnb. So I'm gonna end with this. My tea is cold, which is just the story of my life. Cold coffee, cold eggs, cold tea. Okay, so Airbnb. So here I'm going to run down the tips, the things that we did. We didn't do this a ton. I would say we did 3 or 4 Airbnb guests this last year. We have not chosen to do it again this year. Thanks. Whitney approves of my hair. Thank you so much. We haven't chosen to do Airbnb again this year, and I will tell you why. But for now, I will tell you kind of the pros and cons, the tips that we used to do Airbnb last year. Okay, so we didn't do any marketing. You could share your space on Facebook with your friends, and you could write blog articles about it and try to get yourself out there more. But we really just wanted to. The easiest way we started getting guests was just putting our prices super low. I think we started at like $25 a night, like unrealistically low, and never accepting anything that we felt uncomfortable with. So people would request the space. So it doesn't, unless you set it up in the settings, it does not automatically book the space for them. They actually have to request the space, and then you can have a conversation with them. Why do you want to come into our home? And I'm just going to preface this too with, yes, we absolutely wanted to use the utmost caution with this. And even after I covered all the bases, I always was terrified to let anyone into our home. So that's a very normal feeling. And again, I'll share what we did and then why we haven't done it this year. This is a complete review and take it or leave it. Okay, so we always talk to them ahead of time. I never had a bad experience with someone coming. In fact, I'm still friends with one of the moms that came with their daughter that was the same age as my daughter, and they just so appreciated having a kid-friendly house in the area for a wedding that they were going to. And they were Christians, and like we keep each other encouraged and we pray for each other. Like it was a super positive experience. Another woman that we had was an occupational therapist. And like, it's just people, like, I don't know who I thought used Airbnb, but it's actually very normal people. A lot of people on business trips. There were a couple people that stayed with us when Ava and I were actually staying with my sister. We were staying there for a week, just working from there and just getting to spend time with cousins. So that was when we also set up Airbnbs because me and my daughter were not at home. And so it was just easier for my husband to handle that and have guests in the home without having to deal with, worrying my daughter's going to wake up at night. So we also did the Airbnb guests in a separate part of the house. So there was a definite separation between our side and their side, which made me more comfortable. And we put locks on all of the doors, including ours, and we gave the guests their own private keys. I felt like that would make them more comfortable, and it also made me more comfortable to know that. And we also kept our daughter in our room at least that first night to make sure we felt very comfortable. And then after that, we would put her in her own room and lock the door. And that's not because we are distrusting people, but like we just wanted to use basic caution because it's our family and it's our home. And I think that's completely understandable. The main work involved was cleaning. That was pretty much it. Unless you offer to provide other services such as breakfast in the home or whatever, you're basically running a bed and breakfast without the breakfast. And my husband and me, that's like actually one of our little fantasies, that we would love to own a little bed and breakfast someday in the mountains or looking out over a lake or something. It just sounds fun. So it was our chance to run a little bed and breakfast from right where we are right now and just see how we liked it. And we actually loved it. We did. So really the main work was just getting the space clean and ready, and then just our main interaction with them, sometimes the only interaction, was letting them into the house, giving them their own code to get into the door. Some people will do like what the realtors do, where there's a house key that you let them have and there's a code on it and they let themselves in, and then afterwards they give you your house key. We chose to do a code, a special code for the guest that they can punch in, and then we can delete the code after they go. We also included extra perks. So since I didn't feel like making breakfast for our guests each morning, even if it was like a continental breakfast of muffins, I just didn't want to mess with that. We put our Keurig in their room with some K-cups and a little mini fridge from Andrew's college days. We weren't using anymore. I cleaned it out, put it in there so a little couple water bottles. I mean, it wasn't that hard, but it was nice. And then some other things that we did was just like some clear signage of where they were allowed. So just so you know, if you have someone in your house for Airbnb, they don't have to be able to go into every space. You can make it really clear. So like we would do, I know it's backwards, but we would put signs on the door. So like for the restroom, we would say guest restroom, guest room, and we would never go over there. We gave them their privacy. The only thing, like sometimes they would say, hey, can we use your fridge downstairs, to have a bigger fridge? Or one time the occupational therapist was actually going to I think it was a Thanksgiving dinner the next day, and she needed to make some potatoes. So she brought all her own dishes. She just wanted to use our oven, and she's so nice. I mean, it wasn't a problem. We mainly had people come for business trips, actually. That is a big one where people just don't want to spend $140 plus a night. So they would much rather spend $25 to $50 and get to meet people that are local and can say, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? Because I'm looking for somewhere to go tonight. So we mainly had single people come. Now, I've never accepted a guest where I didn't feel comfortable with them first and having conversations with them on messaging. So we had one individual who messaged me and said, hey, I need a room. And to me, I was just like, I just don't feel comfortable with that. Like, I need to know, are you coming for a business trip? Are you coming for a wedding? Okay, who are you? And then you can also see in their profile if they are verified, if they've entered like their driver's license and different things that, I think it's driver's license. There's like 3 or 4 different verification processes. So if they're not verified, you don't have to accept them. And that just made me feel a lot more comfortable to only accept verified people that I had messaged and felt very comfortable with and had a relationship with before they came into my house. Okay, and then I mentioned like signage. I did this in Microsoft Word, or actually no, Google Forms. Just Google Forms. Or Google, whatever they call it, Google Docs, yeah. This is just a little brochure. I can't remember if I copied and pasted the template. There is an inside, but I didn't take the time to double side this. But it basically just says, welcome to our home. On the inside, be our guest, and I share the check-in and check-out time. I felt like a little bed and breakfast. It was really fun. The Wi-Fi, password, letting them know where they're welcome in the house. There was a laundry area right across from their room. They're welcome to use that, stuff like that. Letting them know where extra blankets and towels were, our seasonal pool, how they can get to that if it's open. What else? And then enjoy the complimentary coffee, how to turn the shower on, because we have one of those wicked, non-understandable shower faucets you have to pull down on. If they use dishes in the sink, please wash them. Just kind of like your rules and what you want them to do. And you can also, I mentioned the temporary house code, our security system, and what that means. And then inside, what I did is I recommended restaurants in the area. So Henry's Smokehouse is one I like in the area that ranges like $6 to $10, and I would say what we like about it. Our local cafe, exchange company that we like, the little ice cream station down the way, stuff like that. The water park, our favorite date night place, that kind of stuff. So they really enjoyed that, and a lot of them mentioned that in their reviews, that they just like the special touches, and they liked just getting to meet us, and we enjoyed meeting them too. And so anyways, it was a really, truly enjoyable experience. The reason why we haven't done it this year is because for some reason, my daughter, even though she was sleeping pretty well through the night, it was like she could sense that paying guests were staying in the house, and she would wake up. And I think it was partly because that first night we always made sure that she was in our room in her playpen, and she wasn't used to it. So I would just say that if you're ever thinking about doing something like this and you set up a system, make sure you test it with your kid before you put it out there. The other thing too is download the app if you're going to do this, because otherwise it's really easy to miss reservation requests, and then the opportunity goes by, because they usually want to book it right away. The opportunity goes by, or I think you get dinged for like not responding to messages within a certain amount of time. So those are just things that worked for us. It's not, we haven't done it because it also just always made me nervous to have someone in our house. Like, it was always a great experience. I actually did an Airbnb in New York. The PR company that I was working with last year, I was working exclusively from home. I had never met the team. But in September, I think it was, she actually flew me out to New York. And I had never been to New York. I really had no idea what to expect. I had my little trusty Google Maps app on my phone to figure out how to get through the subways. I was taking a breast pump with me. I kid you not. I had a breast pump on the subways in New York, and it was my first time away from my daughter, and breastfeeding her was my very first time being away and leaving her with just a bottle. So so it was a crazy trip, and I stayed at an Airbnb. And so and I did a lot of Uber, by the way, and it was totally better than taxis, which was really interesting to me. But yeah, the Airbnb, it was an adventure, but I left there thinking, man, I think we could do this, and we could do it better. Like, they didn't, it was good, but it was just like I was seeing different ways that we could be awesome hosts and have a really good time with it. And it was really nice to be able to stay with someone local that left me to myself, but was there for questions and would tell me their favorite local restaurants in the area and stuff. So it was a way to, I think the Airbnb slogan is live there, don't just visit there, because you actually do feel like you're living in the culture in the home. I think I stayed in Brooklyn, and I took 45-minute subways to get to the studio where we were videographing some awesome people. So anyways, that's the show for tonight. And Melissa, my friend here, is saying that she's had some issues with it freezing. So I'm hoping that's not the case for everybody. And Melissa, I so appreciate your encouraging words. So hopefully you can see this with the replay. But with my book, I think I posted the link on my Business and Babies page and my personal page. I will probably be doing some flash sales through the next couple weeks for my newsletter subscribers. So if you go out on the website, you can also subscribe there, and I'll have like flash sales with coupons for the book if you are wanting to download it, but want to wait for a little bit and see how you feel. But I would say once you get it, definitely just jump in. My mission is to help moms who are struggling but driven to work from home, and the key there is driven. So thinking about it is not going to actually do it for you. You have to try things, and that's how you will figure out what works for you. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys probably next week.